is a concept that replaces a government-run system that favors special interest with individually driven type of taxation. Essentially what the bill does, many people have traveled a long way to testify and have spent the night because of the rally yesterday, and I want to give them the most opportunity to talk, but basically what it does is it replaces withholding tax, individual and corporate tax, bank finance fee, franchise taxes, and all existing state sales and use taxes with a simple sales tax. So the individual makes a decision whether to pay the tax every time they buy a product or service. Low-income people are protected through the pre-bake program, and you'll all can be able to ask questions from people on that issue. But
we keep talking about jobs and economic development. In my view, I've become convinced that this particular bill, that there could possibly be no greater jobs bill for the state of Missouri or economic development bill than to give the people the right to vote, giving the people the right to vote to eliminate Missouri's income tax and replace it with a sales tax. We would move away from taxing industry and productivity and move toward taxing only consumption. Frankly, our current tax policy, I've been down here now for 16 years, and our current tax policy in Missouri is riddled with loopholes and special exemptions for people who come down here and can lobby to get it through the legislative process, but the average taxpayer is oftentimes left behind. So I believe it's time that we give all taxpayers an option to rid ourselves of this loophole-ridden system and go to one single tax policy that applies equally to everyone across the board.
The reason I'm here today is because we were in business for, like I said, 100 years, and our business really became consumed with trying to manage the morass and myriad number of tax bills that were out there. Our business began to be less consumer-oriented or customer-oriented and began to be oriented with tax laws and depreciation schedules and making sure that we maximized the benefits, which changed on a yearly basis and really moved us away from doing business, focusing on our business to focusing on benefits and tax policy and things like that. During that time, I came to believe that the theory of the sales tax was a viable concept, that it was simpler than the income tax, that it was fairer than the income tax, because of the fact that there are so many favorites played economically and socially in an income tax system.
The reason that we're doing this, and the reason that we must do this in the state of Missouri, is to simply make this state a mecca for investment and job growth opportunities. And that absolutely has to take place. If you look at the tables in here, I have a lot of comparative statistics that compare us, Missouri versus all the states without income taxes, with all other states. I also put together a table that compares us with the 8 contiguous states. And you will notice when you look in that, we are either last or second to last in every single category. Job growth, income growth, gross domestic product, all of those things that really matter, all the things that determine the quality of life in this state, all the things that determine the future for our children. We are lagging way behind not just the states that don't have income tax, but we are lagging behind our neighbors, some of whom do and one of whom doesn't. But I think the numbers are very clear on that. There's no doubt that states without income taxes have outperformed states with them since at least, you can go back further, but at least since 1997.
No business to business, that they would not be paying any of these taxes. They would not have.
In court,
Is that what you're saying?
business to business in the sense that it's a business for profit.
So let's just say Anheuser-Busch to Emerson Electric, they wouldn't have to.
That's correct.
They wouldn't have to pay any taxes.
Although I'm not sure what Emerson.
Now, I'm just as an example, sir. Now,
Right.
we don't need
Okay.
to be that, okay. So they wouldn't have to pay any taxes.
That's correct.
And so, but I would have to pay taxes to purchase one of their products.
Correct.
Okay, and these are the same companies that would be getting tax credits. I'm assuming that you haven't taken tax credits out of this, or are they?
The tax credits are all gone.
They're all gone.
Every
Okay, so
one.
they won't be getting any tax credit.
Correct.
Okay.
After I spoke at the seminar, as an example, I said the lobby services would be subject to the so-called fair tax. And a memo was sent around to all the senators saying, well, that's not true. And then Dr. Robb was talking about business-to-business transactions. Said, well, that's business if they're making profit. I represent a lot of not-for-profit organizations, and they don't produce any profit. And if you start exempting my services and people like me, there's no way in the world you can get enough tax to replace what they need, the current sales tax. And again, when we're talking about the 5.79 is the current estimate from the Show Me Institute, that replaces the 3% state sales tax. Okay? When you go to the store, you don't pay 3%. You're paying 7.5% locally in Columbia, something in that range. So the real number is, I believe, more in the neighborhood of at least 8.5% to 9%. And you're going to tax a lot of things that you're not currently taxing. And the biggest thing you're going to tax is health care. Health care is going to pay between 25% and 30% of all the taxes. It is the largest tax expenditure in the report produced by Dr. Haslag at the University of Missouri. Healthcare is the largest tax expenditure. Okay, it's over $1.02 billion for the 3%. Okay, so just think of this. I was at a meeting the other day, and a lobbyist indicated to me that it was a really good caricature of this is kind of the wound to the tomb tax. If you have a kid that's smart, you're going to pay sales tax on the delivery by the doctor, and you're going to pay sales tax on the hospital. When you're at a nursing home, near the end of your life, you're going to pay sales tax in the nursing home, and you're probably going to pay sales tax. Some of it's currently taxed, but when you're put into the ground, the box is currently taxed. I think a lot of the other services are not taxed. You're going to pay this at least 9% sales tax on all those services. Prescription drugs, domestic utilities, food. We currently don't tax food. So it sounds great to get rid of the income tax, and I'm a large income taxpayer, and philosophically I probably agree with that. But what you need to understand is this is revenue neutral. At the end of the day, we're going to collect the same amount of taxes when it's over with as we're collecting before. We're simply determining what's taxed, who's going to pay it.